Welcome back to Coaching for Impact. It's always a pleasure to have you back. I'd like to thank those that have been viewing our episodes, those that have been able to subscribe, those that have given us comments. We value your feedback. Coaching for Impact is here to be able to just share with you some of the thoughts and experiences, hopefully that can also be able to impact your life. My name is Newton CLA.
And I am Nadini Ochieng, and what a pleasure it is for us to gather and even for you to join. So I always also welcome you to this wonderful podcast. And please be able to share with friends, share out, subscribe and share and tell others to subscribe and get the community to grow, because I believe that life is being changed and impact is being realized.
You know, I was just thinking, Pasi, we've been talking about how we just want to get straight to the point so that our listeners can really be able to just grasp and walk away with the key message. Maybe we should call it the 7-minute podcast.
7 minutes. 7, a number of perfection in the Bible, actually.
Exactly.
7 should be good. Right.
And on that note, I'd like to just start on today's topic. And I have a quote here, which I think will open our conversation. It's by a gentleman known as Brian Dyson. He says, "Imagine life as a game in which you are juggling 5 balls in the air: work, family, health, friends, and spirit. Work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. But the other 4 balls are made of glass." The glass ball, per se. I think most people, and I know we've had these conversations, never really appreciate what it means to have things that if they drop, you cannot be able to recoup it back. What to you would be that one really key message when it comes to the glass balls?
I think for me, we are talking of priorities in life. As I look at your priorities, are there areas you know that you're ready to pay the price? Because you know, at the end of the day, Newton, is that any ball I'm juggling, if I release it to fall, it is because I'm willing to embrace the expense that comes with that particular ball dropping. And I think I don't see any other way we can put it, because for me, I feel there are areas that you can never drop. You can never drop, Newton, because your health, for me, will be a very big key ball that you must hold with both hands. If you drop it, you're in trouble, because then you spend your entire life labor, then spend all you've labored for to try repair this ball called health.
Absolutely. And I think most people, until they get admitted, they never realize how that is really a glass ball. But let's talk about something that we were chatting offline, which is also friends, right? One of the things that we say is a very important glass ball is friends. There are people who are very quick to alienate themselves and not stay in touch with friends. What does that mean for you as a glass ball?
You know, one of the things, Newton, and it's good to give examples. I've recently seen a number of things. I know people I knew who are good believers. And in their time in life, they lived life away from people. Now, right now in their retirement period, they have retired and they have nothing to do. They realize they disconnected from their society. And most of them find themselves actually going into now the wrong direction of life. Like many are trying to fit in. And so they are either drinking, they are now the ones being picked from the road, because you're trying to fit in, simply because you didn't have friends that you kept close to you. And now that you're retired, you find yourself, you have no friends. So those who are available, and you know friends who are available, Newton, they are those who lead you.
The wrong ones. They're taking the wrong direction.
They always lead you in the wrong direction. I think for me, that's what I can tell the people who are watching us, that you must have this core of friends who basically are in your age bracket, who you know that in those olden days, we'll have things to joke about, we'll have stories, we'll hang around each other, we may tell each other, maybe let's go for a vacation. Old people are going for a vacation. For me, I feel it's very important, Newton.
No, it's extremely important. And I think what we are saying here is that, remember, friends is a glass ball. But it also brings me back to one other glass ball that is important, really, which is family.
Yes.
And we also were really discussing about this. Sometimes people sacrifice the family, especially at a time when it's really so important. I see when kids are growing up, missing out on important family functions, not having time to go and just have dinner, break bread with the family. What would you say, where are we going wrong in today's generation in failing to realize how important this glass ball of family is?
You know, Newton, one of the bigger challenges we face, especially in families, when you talk about expectations. And the reality is that in families, you know, the expectations that people paint when they are in relationship, when they are getting into these relationships. But at times, these expectations come at the cost of basically the very same thing you're trying to build. Why do I say this? Because you know, Newton, in family, there are people who are driven by what the status the family attains. Now, that status will come at a cost, because if now I go out to make money, by all means, it means I'll skip family dinners, it means I'll come home late, it means I'll not meet the children, it means they'll go to school with the school bus, because I don't have time. I wake up, I leave the house at 4 a.m., I come back at midnight. You know, these are the things that are happening in our societies today. And Newton, my take is, if that persists, you realize that the family gets disconnected. So you have children who have everything they want for, except for the affirmation and the love of their parents. And that, in a long run down the road, actually becomes very catastrophic, because you find that these kids have everything at their disposal to their destruction.
And it's very true. And I think what we're really emphasizing here is that family is a glass ball. You know, once you drop it, you will not be able to get it back. And, you know, maybe to the point that you were saying earlier, we know so many people that in their old age look back at the fact that they have such a disconnect with their own kids. They have a dysfunctional family. And, you know, they're asking themselves what went wrong. And really, the answer lies in the fact that this is a ball that was a glass ball. You shouldn't have dropped it, and you dropped it.
And by then, Newton, the funny thing is that even in the scripture, the people we celebrate, like King David, had dropped that one. Actually, he was the guy who was dying and people are fighting over the kingdom. One is planning to overtake him, take over the kingdom. The other one, it shows you that even if you are a believer, it is important for you to prioritize. In that, God does not come to help you prioritize. It is your work to prioritize. It is your work to put your family in order. It is your work to make sure, even so that you'll have generations after you inherit something from you.
Yes.
So that's not God's work. It is purely your work.
You block the time.
Yes. But can I throw a spanner in the works? You are young, Newton, and you are saying, I have time for everything right now. Can that person be able to juggle all the balls and feel like, I can still play around, I still have health, I'm young, I have family, it's still
in theory.
Yes, in theory. that's a good way.
In
you
theory.
answered it.
But I think, and you brought in a very important perspective, even as we come towards the closing, really for our listeners today, and that's just the aspect of spirituality and why, you know, it could really be the most important glass ball that you have, because it gives you the compass with which you then pursue your life, right?
That's true.
And I think that's the one thing that I really also want us to be able to emphasize. And remember, just reminding you, we've talked about glass balls that you cannot afford to drop. We've said your friends, we've said your family, we've said your health. These are very important. And the fourth one then is, of course, spirituality. And I think you're really leaning also towards that. Why is it important not to drop this ball? And again, remember, the generation that we are talking to, as I said, have not necessarily been brought up the way we were in terms of really valuing the importance of that in life.
Yeah. Spirituality is key. One of the things, recently I was watching a clip by one of the ladies who have followed through. She was an atheist before, and she reached a place where her life is so empty. And she has turned to Christ eventually, because she came from a Muslim background, became an atheist later on, but now she's turned to Christianity. And she was saying, one of the very important things in life, you know, people think that God is obsessed with sin. And actually she was saying, no, Christianity is an obsession with love. In that Christianity is about love. And Newton, there is no one in this world who doesn't want to be loved. So starting from there, in that God is so obsessed about loving you and teaching you the right way to what kind of love is right for you. And I feel you cannot sacrifice that on altar of anything else. When your spiritual life is in space, it means you've found your purpose in life. It's easy to find your purpose in life. It's easy to make an impact in life because you're coming from a springboard from where, first of all, you understand your assignment on earth.
Absolutely. And I think that's also a very good place for us to be able to really also wrap up. For me, the way I take it is that if you drop these glass balls, the price is far much too high, far much too high to be able to pay. And what would be your closing remark for
My
our
closing
listeners today?
remark, Newton, is this. We're obsessed with work and what we do, but work is a rubber ball. It always bounces back. You can always find another work. You can always find something to do. But the glass balls, once you break it, the cost, as you said, is too expensive to bear. So thank you for joining us today. Please share, subscribe, and invite a bigger community to join. Have a wonderful time ahead of you.
Thank you so much, and please do hold your glass balls as dearly as they should be. Do not drop them. It's been a pleasure, and see you again.